This is a step-by-step 100% achievement guide for West of Loathing. I will be going over every achievement, how to get it, all of the steps to do so, and all of the multiple playthroughs. I recommend going through this game at least once, just blind, to have fun with it as much as you can. For the first playthrough, I'm going to go with Cowpuncher. The first thing you're going to want to do is just go through pretty much the entire house, just trying to do as many things as possible. The more you fiddle around with things, the better. You get XP for almost everything you do in this game. So first we're going to be going for an achievement called Handful of Cutlets. You're going to want to ask your mom for barter. Read this book to get 60 meat. To get Handful of Cutlets, you have to leave Boring Springs with 1337 meat. You're going to want to get the needle from the haystack there, and it's important that you do not skip the prologue. You do not, however, need to sit through the credits. Talk to the hostler to get him out of the bar. Now talk to this guy right here, and then go and kill Gary. You do have to do this for the achievement. Also, make sure to turn off automatically spend XP, because we're going to need that later. Grab the whiskey out of that box, then grab the newspaper right there. Tell the bartender that you took care of the goblin. Now we're going to want to go over to the sheriff office. Make sure you grab this mug on your way out. Talk to Braid and ask for some free dynamite, and then decide to trade a dynamite for a needle. Talk to Cactus Bill and he will tell you the location of a shovel. And finally, before we leave, go into the horsery, get a needle from the haystack, a needle from the other one, and then talk to him. We're going to go to the Fricka Gang hideout first. Step 1, go up to this guy and shoot him. You will now have the Ruthless perk. Loot this crate, ask the guy in the bathtub to pass the soap, then drown him. Now go over here and shoot one of them in the back. Grab the mug that's sitting on the counter there, grab the meat that's in there, grab the door, and we're going to leave. Now go to the Orehole Mine, grab the shovel behind the outhouse, dig through that cart, grab the mug, and continue through. Go ahead and get this shadow horse like normal. Loot that, dig the pile there, and then talk to the horse. Go to Thousand Snakes Gulch, grab the shiny rock from right there, and kill the first 2 snakes like normal. Now we're going to do the third one a little differently. The first thing you want to do is surrender to the snake. The game will give you some dynamite so that you can do the fight better. Now kill the snake like normal. Once you finish talking to the crazy horse, we're going to go to the Boring Springs Boneyard. Grab the mug from right there. Go ahead and kill all of the skeletons for the XP. Get that horse as normal, and then make sure you read these 3 grave markers. Now we can go back to Orehole Mine. You should have 3 dynamite now that you didn't pay anything for. You're going to want to go over to this hole, put the 3 dynamite in, and there should be 1 meat behind here. Pick the lock, and we can continue. Go ahead and shovel the poop for free XP. Now go in and talk to the sheriff. If there are no more people back there for him to get and put in the jail, then he will pay you 500 meat. You should have a shiny rock, a silver nugget, and unrefined meat now. Go ahead and sell all of that to Crazy Pete. Give this guy the beer mugs back, and he'll give you 125 meat. We're going to go over to the horsery, get all of our meat from him. Now from this point we're going to want to go back into the bar, and before you do anything, level up your Moxie twice. Now talk to these guys. Ask to play a game, bet 20 meat, and then bet crazily with 3 Moxie. Now hit Intimidate. Lastly, over here you should see a little dirt mound. Dig that up and we'll have the last thing we need for 1337 meat. Turn that in, and now go buy a horse. If you're going to be doing anything with the NexMex books, go ahead and buy the Spooky Pale one. You should now have 1337 meat and should be able to leave and get the achievement immediately. If you've asked the hostler about his injuries, then you should be able to go into Doc Alice's place, given that you took the whiskey from downstairs of the bar. If you talk to her enough, you can actually take her as a partner. If you got the rifle for Susie Cochran, you should be able to take her as a partner. You should also be able to take Crazy Pete as a partner by default. If you went into Doc Alice's place and learned Goblin Tongue, you should also be able to take Gary the Goblin with you. But since he's dead this round, we're not going to be taking him. For this run, I'm going to be taking Doc Alice. Make sure not to take Doc Alice if you're going to be doing anything with NexMex. Go ahead and buy the flowers from this little girl. Offer to help in the jail and then look at the posters. You should now see several locations on your map. Do not go to the House in the Desert gang first unless you're going for the Wanted Dead achievement. At the moment, we're going to be doing Wanted Live. Head over to the second cave and rip the boards off of this entrance. Go in here and open this door. Now go over to the third cave, and you should see the bandits right here. Arrest them, and that's all there is to it. For the place with the fake buildings, we're first going to want to go over to the outhouse. Leave through the back door, and then just go back through it. Tell this guy here to look at the jail. Now get near this person, and she'll just walk away from you. Now this part is kind of finicky, but the basic idea is to get all three of them in front of the real jail at the same time. Now we're just going to want to go back to the outhouse and then cut the rope. Cut this rope, and the building will fall. Remember that if you set the TNT off in front of the sandwich shop, then they will all die. Take them to jail, and that's done. Go into the first one, and then just shoot the black hat. In the second one, if you wait a while, one of the hats will start moving. For the third one, it's just going to be the machete. Go over to the piano and start putting on the different music until something happens. Once you hear whistling, go into the fifth room. One of the songs will make the bandit snore. Simply wait in the room for enough time and you'll start seeing Z's come off of one of the hats. Now that you have all of them, just turn them in. Now we're going to go to the abandoned pickle factory. Pay attention to what the old ghost woman says and write it down. We're going to go into this one and you're simply just going to move these levers around until these are even. If you see another option that says, "It's okay, I took care of the cucumbers," you've done your job. Now for this, simply set this to 976. For this, you're going to want to go over here, turn this until it can't be turned anymore, and it should be left at 70 degrees. Come over here and put 50 lumps of coal into the furnace and then pump it. Then put one, pump it again, put another, pump it again, and one more, pump it again, and it should be at 190 degrees. Now go over here, talk to this guy, and you're done. We only have one more place left, but for this we're going to need to wander around until we find a shop that's up here. This is what we're looking for. Simply go into the store and buy a can of oil. Now we're just going to want to wander around here until we find the Daveyard. Just fight skeletons until you get one bone. Now we can finally go back to the house in the desert. Give the bone to the dog, oil the gate, and then lock them in the house. You should now have the entire jail full and get the achievement. From here we're going to go to the Daveyard and just grind skeletons for a little while. Our goal here is to get 26 gold teeth. Once you have all 26 gold teeth, if Doc Alice is your partner, she should be close to max level now. If her shotgun does 17 damage, then she's max level. Go ahead and keep going and grinding until she is. Next you're going to want to go into the back room, go over to this, and just collect all this stuff. Go ahead and examine all of the stuff you just got. Go ahead and start in the railroad quest. Once you're in the cave, you should be able to open all of the chests and get enough money for the circus. The circus is all the way up here. You should be able to find it by wandering. Now talk to the cotton candy vendor. Go ahead and buy 2 cotton candy from him, but on the second one you should be given an option to take his whistle while he's not looking. Go all the way over to the left and talk to this kid. He'll tell you that he's missing his lucky bottle cap. Talk to the vendor over here, ask to look at the lost and found. Then when you go into here, go ahead and drop his whistle in. Now head back to the cotton candy guy and tell him that his whistle is in the lost and found. Once you do that, you should be able to look at his cotton candy thing and figure out the true seeker of cotton candy, giving you an achievement. You should be at the point in the game where you're about to make a bridge for the railroad company. Head over to Breadwood for the first bridge. One of the achievements requires doing all of the problems for Breadwood. Most of these are fairly self-explanatory. Once you've finished all of the problems for Breadwood, you should be able to build the bridge. For the second bridge, we're going to wander around Fort Alldead until we come across the Humming Cave. Once you're in the Humming Cave, all you need to do is go and grab this thing right here. You should immediately discover the professor's house. Go ahead and go there. Now you're going to want to wander around this area until eventually you come across the Madness Mall Mine. Go ahead and grab anything you can there and then go back to the professor's house. Now the professor should tell you about the Lost Dutch Oven Mine. We're gonna go there next. Once you're down here, you'll get to this wall. All you have to do is leave and come back to the area and you should be able to open it up. Once you get to the Coal Ridge Mine, go to the locker. You should be able to open the third one if you have safe cracking. Once you have 5 El Vibrato scraps, you should be able to go to the professor's house, fabricate a keystone, then come back to the Coal Ridge Mine to open this device. Here you can farm as much scrap and punch cards as you want using this right here. Go to the curious abandoned well left of Breadwood. Here you should be able to find this machine. This is where you use your punch cards to learn El Vibrato words. If you have enough punch cards, you should be able to get the achievement. Make sure to go up to the stand and mash buttons until you've learned 7 numbers. From the Curious Copes, you want to go into this terminal. Click Pipeline Terminal, Power Pipeline, select Source, Local Solar Array, select Destination, North Central Construction Facility, leave Terminal. Go back to the Pipeline Terminal, Matter Pipeline, select Source, Planetary Matter Teleporter, I do not have the word planetary unlocked, select Destination, Northern Central Construction Facility, leave Terminal. Go back into the Pipeline Terminal one more time, go to Primary Terminal, Solar Array Terminal. Now just play around with the orientation of the satellites until you get the power as high as you can. These are the numbers that I got. If you did this correctly, you should see a button right here that says Initialize. You should now have an El Vibrato bridge model. This is the last bridge that we need to create. Right next to the door for the farm, you should see a code. Just search it and you'll get a key. Using the key, you can unlock this box right here. Now just wait in the closet for a bit. You should be able to gather enough clues from waiting in the closet to find out that the correct combination is milk, blood, ichor. If you did it correctly, this is what you should get. You can also do yourself a favor and get 2 milk, and then lemonade. From this you should get a beaker of fudge, which is one of the best consumables in the game. You should have everything you need, so just go over here and grab the bones for a soldier. Then go back to the slab and you should be able to reanimate Buffalo Bill. Now just ask him to join your team and you'll have a third party member. You should now also have access to the Unlimited Bones perk. If you have enough NexMex skill, meaning you've read about 5 books or so, then you should be able to make a bridge out of bones for the train to travel across. If you solved all the problems for Breadwood, then there should be a wooden bridge here. If you went with the bone bridge, then you need to read a certain number of NexMex books. I read 5 and that worked. Before we continue with the railroad quest, we need to go to the Fort of Darkness. If you have the 23 gold teeth from earlier, just walk up to this girl. Ask her to make a crown for you, and then you can give this to Emperor Norton and get an achievement for it, and the train will not be stolen. Head back to Frisco and deal with Norton. All you have to do is give him the gold crown, which also gives you an achievement. Go all the way to the left of Frisco and you should find a flyer right here. Read the flyer and go up to Wasco's Comedy Shack. Now from here, just wander around a bit. At Fort Cowardice, you can find a cannonball all the way to the right. Go to Fort Treason and look through all of the lockboxes until you find a key to P.O. Box 114. Take the key to Dirtwater and you should be able to open the post office box. Read the paper you find in it. If you got the flare from Fort Treason, go to the Alexandria Ranch and place the flare on the safe vault after inspecting everything else at the ranch. Finally go to Fort Treason, go to the Scannon, and go ahead and fire at the Alexandria Ranch. After getting the percussive maintenance book from the Alexandria Ranch, you should be able to go to the deepest delve mine. Go up to this elevator and give it a kick. Go to the very right of the deepest delve mine and grab the El Vibrato cross. This is on floor 2. On the bottom floor of the deepest delve mine, go up to the statue right here and insert a keystone. Then place the El Vibrato cross right here. Continue to wander around Wasco's Comedy Shack until you find the Curious Falls Mountain. Go to the far right of the Curious Falls Mountain until you get to here. Simply replace this and continue. Now go to the terminal just to the right of it, go to Local Power Terminal, select Local Power Destination, and then Roberto Containment. Go to the abandoned mine just under Frisco. Go to the far right and dig into this wall. Put the keystone in here, and then grab the cylinder from right there. Wander around until you find the Curious Flat Plane. At the Curious Flat Plane, insert the battery into here. Now go into this room and then replace the cylinder. Again, go to Local Power Terminal, select Local Power Destination, and then Roberto Containment. Now go back to the deepest delve mine on level 4 all the way to the right. Go up to the terminal here, initialize Roberto Containment System, and that should give you the achievement. Now just grab your crown. If you go to plot 420, you should find a book about mushrooms. You should be able to get everything you need to get into the Necromancer's Tower just by exploring around long enough, all except for the sticky note that can spawn in one of several locations. The Shroom Cave, unlocked by doing Roy Bean's quest, the Old Mission, and at Fort Alded. Make sure that you've done everything else before you go into the Necromancer's Tower. If your partner is Doc Alice, go watch the final cutscene and then come back. Nothing will change. If you're on the Ghost Horse, you might see this message pop up. This is a good thing. This will give you one of the NexMex books, which you'll need for later. If you get to Fort Alded, you can go over here and find the NexMex books. At the buffalo pile, you'll find an NexMex books right on the stand. Go to the military cemetery above Ghostwood and go to plot 666. Now go to Reboot Hill. Go to plot number 3 and just approach the cultists. If you wait to see what happens, then they'll be dealt with automatically. Now you should be able to get an NexMex book. Also in the outhouse, you should find a discipline slip. Now go into the tower, read all of the NexMex books that you have, read all of the runes, drink the Fountain of Blood, deal with all of the skeletons as you climb up the tower with the Necromancer options, and once you get to the Necromancer, you pretty much just absorb him. For one of the rarest achievements, go to the Kellogg Ranch. Go into the barn here and grab everything you can. Go over to the first locker in the dormitory and open it up. This should give you Kellogg's Grain Flakes recipe. Get the multi-grain dough from the first machine in the kitchen. Go over to the second machine, and literally all you do is increase this until it blows up. That's it. I don't know how this achievement is so rare. Now we're going to go to the Butterfield Ranch. Search the outhouse and then go to Coleridge Mine just to the left of it. Go to this little structure right here and just dig in it. Now go to the Alexandria Ranch. At the Alexandria Ranch, just examine Curly's compass. Once you're here, just look under this thing. It costs 50 muscle. Now go to Madness Small Mine. Keep going down until you reach level 3. Now go ahead and examine Curly's machine. Dig out the wall. You should be in this area now. Just open this drawer and get what's inside and you should be good. If you haven't already, go to the bunkhouse in Breadwood and unlock this box. Now go back to the coast and look around until you find Holloway's hideaway. Now ask Holloway about the silver pen. Now ask him about the old pickaxe you got from one of the mines. Finally, ask him about the part of the map you found. Examine the right half of the map and you should get Curly's treasure map. Now all you have to do is go outside and dig up the X on the ground. Open the lockbox from Curly and you now have 15,000 meat and a new achievement. Final thing that I have to talk about is hard mode.
I did hard mode first try! It was easy!
Yeah, so there's really not much to say about hard mode besides a few simple little tips. When picking class, either go melee or ranged. I personally chose range because I thought that I could farm as much venom and medicine as I wanted from snakes. But apparently, and here's the next thing to keep in mind, farms are not infinite in hard mode. If you go to the Daveyard and fight the skeletons there as much as you can, they'll eventually run out. Your hard hat will actually convince you to stop fighting until you sleep for a day. Which obviously you can't sleep for a day because that would ruin your achievement. So when you're going to the farms, try and fight as many things at one time as you can without actually killing yourself, to get as much experience as you possibly can. Remember to never purposefully make yourself mad at the mirror and Dirtwater, because if you get yourself as angry as possible, then the first fight you lose, you already lost the achievement. Fort All Dead. No. Butterfield Ranch. No. In hard mode, the way you spend your experience is important, because you actually have a limited amount. You want a lot of it to go to muscle, mysticality, and moxie, but a ton of it you're going to want to put into gumption. Because gumption is your speed, and you need as much speed as possible. It is incredibly important that you go first in every encounter. You're also going to want to get your grit up as much as you can so that you can have a high pain tolerance and lose several fights without penalty. The more you get your intimidating stat up, the more encounters you won't have to face. Make sure not to bother with any necromancy or vibrato stuff, unless you're going for the El Vibrato crown. If you can get the ghost pickles from the abandoned pickle factory, that's a very, very good early item to get. Since farms are limited, you're going to be getting most of your experience just by wandering. Remember that the enemies that you encounter while wandering will also get stronger the more you fight them. This means that it's a good idea to go to several sections of the map where you'll find new enemies that you haven't encountered before. That way you can keep killing them without much hassle. If you can get to the buffalo pile, you'll instantly be much better off, because here you can get the fudge by putting milk, and then lemonade into a beaker, and you can also get Buffalo Bill. Once you've opened the train path to Frisco, make sure that you have a crown before going to Frisco. You want to spend as little time on the coast as possible. If you can get to Frisco with a crown, then you win. If you reach into the spittoon at Roy Bean's house, then you'll instantly get a really good buff. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is the most work I've ever put into editing a video. I've put much more work into just creating them, but this is kind of new to me. I'd also just like to point out that This was not my first time getting these achievements. I literally got all of these twice because I'm dumb.